Hey, it's Jen. Today I am officially kicking off the build in public component of Midlife Launch. So, what does that mean? So, two things we're going to cover today. One, we're going to cover my YouTube analytics, school analytics, and also my expenses. And then the second part of that is actually I'm going to frame up the rules of Midlife Launch's Build in Public Challenge. It is a $360,000 challenge. And so I'm going to frame up the rules I'll be following as we move forward within that challenge. But first things first, let's talk about the analytics. So I'm going to start out with my YouTube analytics here. Now, to frame up what I've been doing this week is I started a brand new YouTube channel, 0 followers. And for the last 7 days, I have posted one video per day. And these are the results that I've seen as a result of doing that work. So as of today, I have 124 views. I have 194 impressions. My click-through rate is 21.1%. Average view duration is 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I've got 5 returning viewers, 2 of which I think I know who they are. I have 53 unique viewers and 11 subscribers. So, great, Jen. These are numbers. What does it all mean? It means that this is a fantastically average shot out of the gate. I would say on a YouTube channel, starting from absolutely nothing. And so it's hard to really say like where this is going to go or where it's not going to go. But overall, I mean, I'd give the results a solid C, pretty average. And we'll see how this progresses. Now, areas of opportunity, average view duration, I could definitely bring that up. I'd love to see that go up. Returning viewers, I'd like to see more people come back to the channel, right? Because that means that's reoccurring folks that are enjoying my content, because you don't come back to something that you're not interested in, right? You don't keep watching channels that you don't find interesting or people you don't find interesting. But overall, it's a little too soon to tell. I definitely think that I could be doing some different things with my thumbnails to make them more interesting. I've just been using the YouTube analytics for that, honestly, and I talk with my hands a lot. Obviously, you've seen me do this. And so when I do this, it tends to pick a thumbnail where I'm like doing this kind of thing, which looks a little maybe crazy, definitely kinetic. And so I am going to do some work where that is concerned. Holistically, though, I'm also changing the structure and the pace at which I'm posting. So I intentionally started posting 7, every day for the last 7 days so that I could create a library of content so that if someone sees one of my videos and they're interested in seeing more, there's actually something more to see. If I posted every week, like that would be a problem. I wouldn't have nearly as much there for somebody to watch. So I did that intentionally. I also did it intentionally as an experiment because I was curious if I could maintain that pace, if I could keep up quality while maintaining that pace. And what I'm finding is that because I also work full time, I just don't have as much time on task from a creative standpoint as I would like to have, or arguably I need to have to maintain the quality that I want to see. So my quality has fluctuated throughout the last 7 days. I want to keep that standard high for myself. And so I'm going to stop with the everyday posting. I'm actually going to pivot to posting 3 days per week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday are going to be my new posting days or posting schedule. And then also every Friday, we're going to go through exactly this same type of format where we'll review my statistics and analytics, my key performance indicators, my KPIs, and then I will pivot into another topic that's very closely related to building in public, just like I am today. So today is the analytics, and then I'm going to go through the rules for the challenge, and then in subsequent conversations, it'll follow a very similar format. I probably won't talk about the rules as much. I'll probably touch upon them, right? But I'll take deeper dives into elements in terms of the documentation of the work that I did for the week. But I will also balance that out with the same type of mindset, inspirational, talking head type content that I have been posting. So that's what my channel will look like as we move forward. But that's some of the learnings I've had already just in the last 7 days, which is pretty substantial, quite frankly. They're learnings that I wouldn't have had if I was still just thinking about this and I didn't actually just start posting. So if you needed another reason to start posting, that's a fantastic reason. Now I'm going to go into my school analytics. I just started a school community called Midlife Launch a day ago. So it's literally been about 24 hours since I started that school community. I've already got 2 members, which is fantastic. Dave and Gigi, thank you very much. You've been wonderful. And I don't have any revenue. So my school page right now is pretty basic. It's honestly, you could say it's a little raggedy. It's got some holes. But I will be filling in those holes in the next couple days. But I shipped fast. I shipped early. And then I'm gonna cover off on some of the gaps that I have over the course of this weekend, because it's Thursday today that I'm shooting this, and I'm going to be posting this on Friday. So my about page, don't have anything on here, missing a bunch of stuff. My community, I've just started some items around engagement. There's some engagement here with Dave and Gigi. And so that's fantastic, but there's a lot here. I need to invite some people. I do know some people in real life that would be very interested in this, and I'm going to get them invited. But I've got a little blurb here about what Midlife Launch is about. Obviously, I've got the cover and then the icon here taken care of. The classroom, my services that I'm offering right now, it's just one-on-one coaching. And so there's 3 different ways that you can work with me one-to-one in a coaching sense. And I've got those packages outlined on here. And that information is available, and it's available to purchase if somebody who has been watching or engaging with me is interested in pulling that trigger. It's there. But yeah, that's it so far. So lots more to do, lots more to happen there. But we've got a really good start going on where that's concerned. My last tab is expenses. And so I'm going to keep a running tab of expenses. And as revenue comes in, right, we'll have the percentages there. So you have a real transparent view of what I'm spending, what I'm earning, and what the margin is there, net margin. And this game is all about net margin. If anybody tells you it's about revenue, that's a vanity metric. Net margin is where it's at, because that's the money you get to keep in your pocket. What's even more important than net margin is NIAT. So I'm not going to finance blah, 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 all over you, but so that's the money you get to keep after you pay taxes. And that's actually what's most important. And as that develops for me, I will sprinkle that into this. But right now, we're just going to focus on revenue, and then that net margin component of it. So revenue, expenses, net margin. We're going to start there. And then as I start having to pay taxes, we'll get into that part. But really, I only have 2 monthly expenses right now at school. I went ahead and pulled the trigger on school. I don't need a lot of convincing that that's a good platform or a good platform for me. I love what Sam Ovens and his group are doing. I'm very impressed with how far they've come with the product development side of this. So to me, Whoop isn't an option. I'm all in on school. And I'm hoping to make this community just like a repository, or you can think of it as a funnel or a container for all of the stuff that I do in the future. So if you want to contact me directly, you do that. If you want to work with me, do that. If you want to just join the community and be part of the community and get all the free information, you can do that there too. So there's going to be a variety of done for you, done with you, do it yourself options all contained within that community over time, but I'm hoping I can use that platform for everything, or darn near everything. Now, I've got Zoom, Calendly, and Stan. I've got categories for it. I'm not actually spending money in those categories yet, but I do believe I'm going to need to leverage those items as well. School's got a couple gaps right now that I think I'm going to have to use Stan or leverage Stan to fill, in terms of folks signing up for things and getting like a prompt or a PDF or a checklist or something like that, Notion template, whatever the situation is. I think I'm going to have to leverage Stan for that capability, because school doesn't have that just yet. Additionally, I'm not going to be able to record like Q&A sessions as my calendar gets up and running within school. Using school, that is something that's on their roadmap, but it's not available just yet. So those are all considerations as I move into the future. So overall, really great 7 days, making progress, right? I can feel the palatable pieces of the momentum. And so I'm super jazzed about that. Now we're going to move into the build in public part of this challenge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to summarize and run through the rules of the build in public challenge and why those rules are the rules, essentially. So you not only have the rules, but you also have the why behind it, which is like super important. So my build in public rules, rule number 1, I'm going to document everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. I want you to be able to see how doable this is with a full-time job. And I want it to be as realistic and as pragmatic as possible, because I feel like that is often painfully missing from a lot of the content on YouTube. I think the software as a service people, the folks that are creating software, vibe coding, whatnot, do an amazing job of this. And I want to be an agent for seeing more of this in the coaching, guidance, mentorship space. And so that's why I'm doing this. I want to show you the actual nuts and bolts, the clean and the dirty around what this looks like. And so I am going to document everything that I'm doing. And I'm going to rely on you for feedback as to what components of the documentation are valuable or invaluable. So please always comment below if something strikes you. It doesn't always have to be a question, but even if it's a comment like, I like this, I don't like that, please give me that feedback. That feedback is very necessary for this proof of concept. And I'll get more into the proof of concept component of it in a minute here. But rule number 2, I refuse to convince people or act desperate. I must stay in alignment with myself and folks with high agency. So the types of folks that I love working with and interacting with the most are high agency people. That means they're like, they understand themselves, they understand their capabilities and limitations as a person. They understand really like what they can get from one-to-one interaction or community interaction, and what they can contribute to those interactions as well. So having a contribution mindset is very much part of being a high agency individual in the world. And those are the folks that I love working with the most. I am not here to convince you to do this. I am here to resonate with the individuals who already know they want to do this, or they're pretty sure they want to do this, but they're overwhelmed perhaps with the how of the thing, or they could use some help with the why of the thing, or they've got some stories that they're telling themselves from a mindset standpoint that just might not be productive to the overall objective here. So those are my favorite types of people to work with and interact with. And those are the types of folks that I want to attract with my content. And so I am an impatient person by nature. And this convincing part is around, you see the Charlie Morgans, the William Browns, the Sonny Leonarduzzi's, Alexis Serenoyas, these are all people that I respect very highly in the coaching space. But one of the things that I don't always like about their funnel is this book a call business. I understand on some level you have to make sure that people are a good fit, but at the same token, I do believe that if your pricing is right, if your content is right, that there should be fits in terms of not having to gatekeep or convince people of your value such that they sign up for your services or your products for that matter as well. And so when I think about, am I doing a funnel or a flywheel? And I'll get into this a lot more in the next couple days. I very much am of a flywheel approach. I want to use my content to pour water on the water wheel, you can think of it, or if the flywheel, that's what a water wheel is a flywheel. And that should spin it. And that means it should spin it in a productive fashion if my content is on point and my pricing is on point and my offers are on point. But I'm not interested in convincing folks. So I'm going to be very transparent and upfront. I'm not going to convince people. And sometimes my lack of patience can sometimes want to push people along. Especially when they say they want a thing, but they're not doing the things they need to do to achieve that thing. But I'm going to try my level best to not do that because that feels very desperate to me, quite frankly. And that's not me judging folks who conduct their sales funnel in that manner. But for me, that's just for me. And I have to do this, in a way that works for me. That'll start to feel like a grind. And I don't want that to happen. And so I am committing to creating content and being honest with myself in my content at every step of the way so that I immediately have resonance with folks and fit with folks. And I naturally turn off the people that are like, oh, she's really fill in the blank. Like, I don't like that. That's cool. I probably wouldn't want to work with you or hang out with you or whatever anyway if we don't vibe that way. So that's super important to me. And therefore it's a rule. I don't generally like to do as many rules as I've got here, but as I walked through this with myself, I felt like every single one of these were necessary for me to keep myself on track and for me to take my community, my business, my channel in a direction that's self-actualizing, not only for me, but also for the people that want to work with me or want to watch my content. So rule number 3, working full-time as a senior director. So I'm a senior director at a multi-billion-dollar company. I used to be a VP. I recently stepped into a newer role. I have responsibilities and obligations there, and I am not going to let slack on any of those responsibilities or obligations. Likewise, I think it's important that you understand that just like you maybe have a full-time job, you have, kids, you have all the trappings of a midlife person who's also trying to start a business. I want to resonate with you on that level, and so we understand one another and we have commonality where that's concerned. And so there's a limited amount of time in the day that I have to be able to do these things to build my business. And I'm going to be very transparent about those things. I've even thought about doing like a time tracker. So if that's interesting to you, please comment, just say time tracker or something like that below. And I'll incorporate that into these Friday videos as I move forward so that you can actually see how much time I have invested into this challenge and into my business. And so we can just keep ourselves honest where that's concerned. But I have full-time obligations to my employer. I am not subtracting from those obligations. Those obligations remain. My employer is very important to me. The work that I do there is very meaningful, not only to me, but to several other folks that I have accountability with as well. And so I just want to be real that is a thing that I have to keep track of and keep myself honest with. Rule number 4, I won't stop until I make 360,000. And you might say, 360,000 is your proof of concept, Jen? Like, that is a lot of money. So for me, and this is relative, your number might look different, but for me, that's my freedom number. That's how much I have to earn in this business and have a roadmap to reoccurring earnings where that's concerned before I will even vaguely contemplate leaving my full-time job, never mind my full-time career path. So I have every confidence that this is possible. You might be like, I don't even know if that dollar amount is possible. It's 1000% possible. To me, it's just a question of when. But I am not going to stop this challenge until I make that amount of money, because that's when I feel confident that I have proof of concept nailed down, my criteria for success has been met, and that I can begin to contemplate perhaps separating myself from my full-time job and focusing on this full-time. That's my freedom number. Rule number 5, I'm going to work on this business 10 to 15 hours per week, and that's all of it. So that's the content creation, that's product service development, that's actually providing that service to individuals, the whole kit and caboodle. And you might say, wow, that's kind of low, but I have a full-time job. I have a fully adult life with responsibilities and obligations, just like you do, with kids and schedules and vacations and summer here in the US, right? Kids are off from school, vacations got to happen, all the things have to happen. That's what I felt like I could commit to this. And so I will see how that trends. Most of that will be 5 to 6 days a week. But again, we'll see how that progresses. I would say that right now, in terms of week 1, I am definitely at that closer to that 15 hours per week mark. But like I said, I want to keep myself honest. I want to keep you honest, because I know that you have other things going on in your life. And I thought it was important to wrap that time so that you also have an understanding of how much time I'm able to, willing is the other part of it, willing and able to commit to this. And then the last part is posting to YouTube Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to switch this up from posting 7 days a week to posting 3 days a week. I think that will give me more room for creativity and ensure that those videos stay very high in quality. So with all of that being said, I hope you subscribe and you're interested in this build in public journey. I'm interested in talking to you. Again, please comment below anything you'd like to see, anything you'd like me to elaborate more on, anything you have questions about. There's a link in the description for my school community. If you want to contact me directly, that's the place to come find me. But looking forward to seeing you in the next video.